Hello, Year 8, and welcome to your art lesson for today. I thought I would start this lesson by doing a little demonstration of what is required during this lesson. Now, the first thing that you're going to have to is required to do is you may be required to draw several boxes, and I'm going to get to that later on in the lesson. What we need to, first of all, is to have a look at the PowerPoint to make a decision. So let's just have a look at what we're doing this year. We're going to be looking at the formal elements, what makes up an artwork, and how we can explore and have a look at the formal elements through doing a range of activities which help and support developing your skills later on this year. Here are some keywords that we might want to look at, because obviously when we're looking at art, we may need to use a range of words that help us to express what's happening in that piece of work. Here's another example. This is far more complex, and obviously in one of our lessons, we'll be using these words to talk about some art. Don't forget, all the work that we do this year, we will be assessing you according to levels. So we've got the art target sheet here so that you can see the sorts of things that we'll be looking at later on. Here's another way of looking at the formal elements. Obviously, if we're talking about one thing like line, we could use that word to describe many different things. What we'll be asking you to do today is to draw out 5 boxes. Now, these boxes have to be drawn out at a certain angle and a certain size. That's very, very important, because once we've drawn these boxes, we'll be able to look at the formal elements and make careful decisions about what they should look like. Here is an example. So before we get to this stage, I would like you to have a look at how to draw a cube. First of all, I've drawn this cube out so that you can see exactly what the cube should be looking like. So basically, if you happen to have a compass or a protractor, this angle here should be around 30 degrees. And we can only get that by drawing the cube in the following way. I'm now going to draw it using a pen so that you can see exactly how to draw this, but obviously you might draw it using a pencil. Now, the first thing is I'm going to draw 3 lines going down. I'm going to draw 3 lines going at this angle, and I'm going to draw 3 lines going at this angle. So let's try that again. I'm going to draw 3 lines that are going down. So if I draw in my 3 lines, I've got to make sure that I can get that angle in right. So the first thing I might do on my piece of paper is I might draw in a line that is going across. I'm going to draw in another line that is going down the middle. I'm now going to make a decision to draw my line that's going at this angle, that is going halfway through that point. So obviously I'm going to draw a straight line going through that middle point. Now let's catch up with my pen, because I'm going to start drawing in with a pen now so that we can see what we're doing. So if I've drawn in that center line, I need to decide how big my cube is. Now along here, I'm going to make all of my dimensions 4 centimeters. Let's just have a look. No, let's make it a little bit bigger. Yeah, 4 centimeters. It's right there. And I've decided I'm going to draw that in quite firmly with a pen. Now I can see, if I measure to that dot from this line, how wide I need to draw my line. So this line here that I'm drawing all the way down, this line needs to be 3.5 centimeters from this line. So I'm just going to put in a couple of dots that might help me to draw that line. Probably a dot down here. And then I'm going to measure 3.5 centimeters that way. And I'm going to draw, let's draw in another dot down here, just so that I'm absolutely sure I know where I'm going. And I'm going to draw a straight line going like that. Now, if I measure this, because this is a line here that might help me. If I know that this point hits this line here, then I can easily measure across to get the second line in, like that. Now, if we know that these two angles are what's going to help us to draw these two angles right, then all I'm doing now is measuring. So how big is my square? I said 4 centimeters. So I'm now going to measure up for 4 centimeters. I'm now going to measure up for 4 centimeters. And here again, I'm going to measure up for 4 centimeters. So as I said before, let's draw over my cube so we can absolutely see where I'm going. So if my cube is now 4 centimeters to that line, let's go again, 4 centimeters. Let's look again, 4 centimeters. It's beginning to look like a table that's been turned upside down. I'm then going to come in here, and obviously if I measure that line, you may find that it should be 4 centimeters. And if I come this way, the line should be 4 centimeters. Now, we have to be accurate here because I want this line, and the line that I'm about to put in needs to be at the same angle. And obviously, it needs to meet at the same point. And I can literally measure 4 centimeters. I can look here and see if my ruler is parallel to this line. And I can then draw in the top side of my box. Now, obviously, that line, I'm just going to link that line on. So making something parallel means that they're at the same angle. So if this line here is at the same angle as this line and is at the same angle as that line, if I drew a line through this particular shape, you'd be able to see that they are all at the same angle. Okay. So those three lines are all at the same angle. Now, what I need you to draw is several cubes. So that is 4 centimeters by 4 centimeters by 4 centimeters. And I need you to draw one that is 5 centimeters by 5 centimeters by 5 centimeters. I also need you to draw one that is 6 centimeters by 6 centimeters by 6 centimeters. And all of those need to be on 2 sheets of paper. Now let's go back to our PowerPoint. Here we are. We can see on this particular example, there are several squares that have already been drawn out at various sizes. And the point here is to practice drawing isometrically. The second bit is to try and illustrate in each square what these particular words mean. So you've got color might be illustrated by different types of color. You might be able to use some keywords like bright and lively or dull, somber and moody. Whereas for line, you might find yourself using a pencil to create some textures on all 3 sides of your box. You may find yourself explaining what you've done along the edge. The third box is tone, and tone may be easily explained to demonstrate or to show shadows. Composition. Obviously for this one, somebody has drawn 2 more boxes to show depth and distance. So when you've done your research on the internet and found out about composition, how can we illustrate that within your box? And then the final thing is to look at themes. What does the word theme mean? How can I illustrate that in this particular box? So you should have 5 boxes that are drawn out, and you illustrate it and bring it back for us in the next lesson. I hope that makes it really clear what we've decided that you should be doing. And if you have any questions, please go to Google Classrooms and make sure that you add or tell us about your questions. Thank you for your time. Bye-bye.